All right, so we're going to try to use the Sim Lab to create some very cool marble machine. Here's all the directions. Um, so I'm going to show you one that I have made. Oops, let me hit reset there. So this one is made here, and basically I just copied it a bunch of times. Um, but basically what's happening here, as you can see, is the ball's going to roll down. It's going to go through this hole. It's going to run down through these little stairs here. It's going to bump into this dominoes, which is going to knock this ball onto um, that lever there, and it's going to launch the marbles into our target range. And it just happens all in 4 different things. I just copy pasted it. So let's take a look and see how it looks in the sim. So I'm going to go to the sim here, and I made the marble of steel, and this is like a rubber mat, and to make the balls bounce, and this is wood to give it less bounce at that point. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and let's see how it plays. So there it goes. It's a little slow. There's the marble. Roll down through the first one. Bounces off. Goes down through the little stairs there. Hits into a little slider. Boop. Knocks into the dominoes. Oh no. I'll have to help it along here. Okay. And then the ball falls down, launches into the air. And let's see how many points we get here. And our score looks like we got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 points for that launch. That's kind of fun. Reset. All right, so there is an example of a sim. I'm going to go back into here and let's talk about how to run the sim. So I'm going to go into a brand new design and just get into a blank work design. And let's just kind of go over the basics here. So suppose I just wanted to get a marble to launch. So I'm going to bring out a square here. No, actually, scratch that. I'm going to bring out this little triangular piece like that. And then I'm going to bring out this, this square. I'm going to flatten it down and kind of make it into kind of a launcher. All right. Now I'm going to use the magnet here. That's in it like a little attachment, and it lets me kind of magnetize this thing, and I can sort of set it on a surface. So I'm going to set it, actually, and maybe I'm not going to do that. Scratch that. I'm just going to lift it up and kind of place it over and get it so it just sort of sits nice and light on top of that thing. So I'm going to drop it down just so it kind of touches onto it. There, about like that. Okay, so there's that. And now I need a ball that's going to fall onto it. So I'm going to bring out a ball here. And this one I will magnetize. And I'm going to have it sit on top of there. So see if I grab it by that little magnetic dot there, I can sort of put it on the surface. I'll put it right on that surface there. So it's right on top of it. And then I'm going to lift it up. Whoop, so it floats. So it's going to fall down and hit that. All right, let's see what would happen if I just ran this simulation. So I'm going to go over to the apple here, which is the Sim Lab. I'm going to click on the apple. And now it's going to let me play. So I hit play, and let's see what happens. So I hit play, and it all just kind of slides all over the place. So I'm going to reset that. I need to make a few things static. I want them to not move. So this ball right now, see it's rolling, it's dynamic. So it's called dynamic, which means it'll move. This lever would move. If I make this static like that, and it looks like that, and now I run the sim, let's see what happens. It just falls. And this thing doesn't move because I've made it static. So there's that. That's not really doing me what I want. This thing here, I don't want this green thing to move. I want to make that static. So I'm going to make that static. Oops, there we go. Oh, reset. So click on that. I'm going to make that static. I'm going to make this thing dynamic so it does move. And then let's run the sim and see what happens. Whoop. Okay. All right, so it's starting to work. Now I'm going to reset that. I want something that's going to keep this from sliding off, right? It's like it slides off. I don't want that red thing to slide off. So I'm going to have to go back into my design, and I'm going to take a square, and I'm going to sort of put a square underneath this thing so that this thing can't really fall down. Yeah. And then I'm going to put some, I want some object that it can launch. So I'm going to take this little tube here, and I'll magnetize that tube, and I'm going to place it on there. Okay. Now I want to group, I don't want that to be grouped, by the way. I want to group this. Well, let's you know what, I'll just put this back. Let's see what would happen. So, and I'll put a little ball in here. So let's bring out this ball. It's going to be too big to fit in there. But I can have it sit on top, I guess. I'm going to shrink it down. So I'm going to shift click and shrink this thing way down like that. And I'll magnetize it. And I'm going to plop it inside there. Make sure it is magnetized and it's sitting on the floor. Okay, so now I've got the ball on the floor there. All right, let's see what happened. I'm going to go into the Sim Lab. And let's hit play and sort of see what happens. Boop. All right, well, I'm getting closer. So I don't want that holder to kind of come off like that. So I have to fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to reset. I'm going to go back into here, and I need to group that. So this thing I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to group this orange thing and the red one. I'm going to group those so that they become one solid object. Then I'll slide this back. And now let's see if it's any better. Back to the sim. And let's hit play. Boop. Okay, it's getting a little better, but I feel like there's just not enough strength to sort of launch this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and move this way up, give it a lot more gravity to fall, and I'm going to make it heavy. So right now it's made out of plastic, but I want it to be heavy. So I'm going to make steel. Steel is going to be much heavier. It's going to give it a lot more bounce. And then this thing right now is plastic as well. So I'm going to make it into, let's say, wood, and see if that makes a difference. And this little ball, maybe I'll make this ball rubber, make it bounce, give it some bounce. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's launch. Boop. Okay, better, but that whole little lever is like flying all over the place. That's not so good. How do I keep that from flying all over? I don't want that. So I need to now go back into my design, and I need to put something that's going to kind of keep this thing from flying all over the place. So I'm going to put a little post there like that, and I'll copy paste it and bring the other one on that side over there. And then I'll bring out some sort of like another one of these. I'll flip it on its side, and I'll shrink it way down, make it super skinny, and bring it all across, and lift it up and over. And we'll have this kind of go across like that. And that's going to kind of hold it in place. Let's see if that worked. I don't want it to touch that, and maybe a little bit high. Let's go up one more click. Oops. There you go. All right, a little gap there. Okay. Now I want all this to be connected. So, well, let's see what happened. I'm going to go into the sim. Let's see what happens here. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boop. All right. Oh, I forgot to connect all these parts. So that's not going to work. So back into here, I need to make that object and that object and that object into a group. So I'm going to group it, and I'll give it another color just to make it a little easier for me to see what it is I'm dealing with. Multicolor. All right. Now let's try that sim again. And so I'm going to go back into my sim. All right, let's see. I want this to not move, the red thing, so I'm going to make that static. I want this thing to not move, so I'm going to make that static. I want the ball to move. I want the lever to move, and I want this to move. And they're all moving. So I think it's going to work. Let's find out. Woo! Okay, a little bit better. Only one thing I need to fix is that that thing sort of slid off. So I need some sort of stopper on the back end of that to keep it from doing that. So I'm going to go back to my design here, bring out another box, lift it up, and kind of just give it something that it can't really knock and fall off. So I'll just kind of roughly put that basically right about there. Okay, go back into here, and I need to make this static so it doesn't move. So I'm going to make it static, and let's try it again. And boop, yay, getting better. All right, so you can kind of see as you go through this process, you learn every time you go into the sim. You kind of learn what you need to fix to get the system to work, right? And eventually, ultimately, you're trying to make some sort of cool design that's going to let the marble fall in different ways and adding different sorts of things. So you can kind of see what it all looks like at the end. So have fun with this, and I'll be around to help you if you need it.